Clerics are nuts. They're completely underestimated right now. Orah just brings everything back forever, and Taborax is basically a super Midnight Reaper. It's crazy. This deck actually managed to beat 4-color Omnath Adventures before Omnath was banned, as you'll see in the games. And first of all, at the top of the curve, we have Orah. 3/3 lifelinker for 4. Whenever one of our clerics dies, we get another cleric with lesser converted mana cost back from the graveyard. Absolutely crazy as a recursive threat. You'll see when we get to the other clerics later on how this can really come together. We've got Taborax. We're running 4 of Taborax. Taborax is absolutely essential. As long as you're running almost all clerics, it's actually better than Midnight Reaper. It's just a better version of Midnight Reaper. It has to slot into the right deck, but this is the right deck, thankfully. It's 2/2 flying for 3. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you will put a +1/+1 counter on it. If it has at least 5 +1/+1 counters on it, it has lifelink. And if the creature that died was a cleric, you draw a card and lose a life. So it's a Midnight Reaper with wings that gets huge and gets lifelink, as long as you're mostly playing clerics, which we are. And it's absolutely nuts, especially with our recursive threats. When we bring things back and back and back and just keep triggering Taborax, it gets nutty, okay? And how do we do that? We've got 2 copies of Lurrus to go with the 2 copies of Orah. And then we've also got 4 copies of Call the Death Dweller. This is actually going to bring things back over and over and over. I mean, Call's only going to hit 2 creatures one shot, but Lurrus is going to bring things back over and over. Orah is going to bring things back over and over. We've got 3 copies of Agadeem's Awakening. That's going to bring things back. We just keep bringing back the threats, and the opponent can never really get rid of them. And by the time that they do, we've got Bastion of Remembrance. With Bastion of Remembrance on the field, all of those deaths will trigger, and they'll drain life. We'll get them closer to death. We'll bump up our life so that we can take hits. And again, with the recursive threats coming back, drawing cards off Taborax, bringing things back from the graveyard, we just keep triggering this over and over, and it gets absolutely crazy. We've also got 2 Vitos. For all the life gain that the deck has, we can just hit them straight in the face, and a lot of times we don't even need to swing in. We've got 1 Woe Strider. Now, this isn't a cleric, but if we can get this onto the field, we can sack our whole board when we're in a position where we have enough of the Bastion of Remembrances on the field, just straight up win. And that's important. And even if we're not in that position, being able to sacrifice one of our dudes at any time to trigger a scry is really helpful, especially if they're trying to use like Extinction Event or anything that exiles our creatures, and we want to make sure they get in the yard so that we can bring them back. Woe Strider's great for that. So one copy. We don't want to go too heavy on it because we want the deck to mostly be clerics, but 1 copy is good. We've got 1 copy of Relic Vial. This is basically just a 5th Bastion of Remembrance. Originally, I tried to make room for more copies of this to really go overboard with the death triggers, but finding the right balance of creatures to things that trigger off those creatures dying is really tricky. And I think just the 1 copy here as a 5th Bastion and as an extra sack outlet is right. So we have 1 copy of that. Moving down into the 2 drops, we get into the meat of the deck here. So we've got 4 Cleric of Life spawned. This is absolutely essential. The first time you play a Cleric, each turn you'll gain a life. Whenever you, every time you play a Cleric, you'll gain a life. But the first time you play a Cleric each turn and gain life, or gain life from anything, you'll put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this is basically like having Hallowed Priest and Impassioned Orator in the same card. Now, granted, you don't get to gain multiple counters a turn like the Hallowed Priest does, but having your life gain built into the card is really, really important and still adds a ton of value. So to go back to what we were just talking about, we have the 2 Hallowed Priest and the 2 Impassioned Orators. I feel like both of these cards are important. They're both clerics. We want to gain more life. We want to get bigger creatures. So essentially having 2 of each of these, in a way, sort of feels like having 6 copies of Cleric of Life spawned. because we have 6 copies of the card that can gain life, and then we have 6 copies of a card that can get bigger when we gain life. So I feel like the split here with 2 and 2 is pretty good. I would love to add more, but the deck's really tight. We've also got 4 Skyclave Cleric. Now this doubles as our land in the early game, but late game we can play this, gain life, trigger our life triggers, and have another cleric in play to do all the nonsense that this deck is trying to do with clerics. Absolutely essential. It's a way to fit 4 more clerics in the deck, in a deck where we don't have room for many other cards, because we can slot them into the land base and we feel great about it. Speaking of that, we have 1 Kabira Takedown in the mana base, and this is just great as oops, we need a removal. I would love to fit more, but again, things are tight. Having the 1 is nice, because again, it's in the land base. We draw it early, we play it as a land, but if we get it later in the game when we're in a sticky situation, we usually have plenty of creatures on the field, and we can just nuke one of theirs, and it's great. Now, moving down into the 1-drops, we have 3 Serrated Scorpions. Even though it's not a cleric, it's still absolutely essential to the deck, I feel. The life gain and drain off of just a 1-drop is really, really good. And it's important to note that with the Relic Vial, you only need a cleric in play. You don't need to be losing a cleric. You don't need to be having a cleric die for the Relic Vial to trigger. Anything dying will trigger the Relic Vial as long as you have a cleric in play. So as long as we have mostly clerics, we're good. The 3 Serrated Scorpions still do a ton of work, bringing them back turn after turn to sacrifice. Absolutely amazing. Moving on from that, we have 1 copy of Malakir Rebirth in the land base. For similar reasons I mentioned before, trying to fit cards into this deck is hard. Being able to slot something like this into the mana base and prevent them from, like, say, removing an Orah. They hit Orah with a piece of removal. We Malakir Rebirth. Not only does Orah come back into play and we're good, but Orah's ability will trigger and we can get another cleric back, which is awesome. We can also use it to save Lurrus and some other important cards like Taborax. It's really, really, really good in the deck. I like it. Just a one-off. And then we've got, to round out our 1-drops for clerics here, we've got 4 Archfiend's Vessel, 4 Speaker of the Heavens, and 1 Soulmender. Now, the Vessel's amazing because obviously we have tons of ways to bring back clerics, and this will turn into a 5/5 flyer pretty early. The Speaker's amazing because it's easy for us to get up to 27 life, and then we can just start popping out angels like it's nothing. But it's also important to have these 1-drop clerics so that when Orah's on the field and one of our 2-drop cleric dies, we have something to bring back. And that's why we have a 9th 1-drop cleric in the Soulmender. Now, most people see this card and they think it's not good enough, but it does a lot. First of all, just having the other 1-drop to bring back when our 2-drops die is important. The Archfiend's Vessel we can only bring back once. So once those are all out of our graveyard, we're really just down to Speaker. And having the extra Soulmender here is important because we can constantly sacrifice it and then sacrifice a 2-drop and get it back. Having a creature we can do that with is important. Having a 5th copy of something that we can keep sending to the graveyard and bringing back is important. Not only that, the life gain can trigger if we don't have a creature to drop. It can trigger stuff like Cleric of the Lifespond and Hallowed Priest to put more counters on. And with Cleric of Lifespond in particular, this gains only a 1/1/1/1 counter a turn. So if we wait until the opponent's turn and then we tap this to gain a life, it's a way to get an extra counter on the creature before we get back to our turn. So it's a lot of little extra value built in. The deck's pretty crazy. It just does a lot, and it gets to a point where the opponent can't destroy your board or they just die. And that's really all you need to get there. It's great. We do really well. Took it on the ladder, and we got some crazy wins. So let's check out the games. All right, this is pretty keepable. We'll lead with a Fabled Passage, just because we have no 1-drops, unless we draw one. He goes to 5. Woof. Pass turn. Assault. It's gonna mutate. Should be fine. I'm not super concerned. We're gonna grab a swamp here. We do have more black than white in the deck, so we'll lead with the Cleric of Lifespawn. See if we eat some removal here. Nope. Plays a Horn Beetle, stands for 3. He is out of gas. He is very out of gas. Play Swamp. What do we want to do? Bastion's not a good idea. I think to make the most use of our mana, Taborax. It feels bad not dropping the Orator first, but we can only gain life. We can only gain 1 counter with this guy a turn anyway. We're gonna swing in. Chances are this guy will grow, and we're not gonna want to chump anyway. So holding him back as a blocker doesn't really do too much. Taborax. Wow, I'm surprised he didn't attack with the Horn Beetle though. He wants this gone for sure. Alright. What do we do here? Bastion or Orator? Bastion won't trigger life gain. I think we just play the Orator. Feels a little bit weird, but and this time we can hold back the Cleric to block. Because neither one of these are going to be big enough to get through him. I mean, he can't just race us. We gain too much life. He's got a whole bunch of bears. Just his whole deck is bears, apparently. Man, all 3 of the Call of the Death Dwellers. Guess we'll drop this now. Make use of our mana. And we'll still just swing 2 for now. Hold back the Cleric. I'm almost thinking 1 Demonic Embrace would be really good in this deck. Just as a one-off. To make our guys, when they get tall, have evasion. Or actually, you know what would be better? One of the Tridents. The lifelink trample +1/+1 Tridents. That would be good. We'll play this as a land. We'll play a Relic Vial. And we'll just swing with Taborax again. Like, we'll win the race. I'm not worried about that. Not at all. He is tapped out, so we don't mind losing things right now, because we can get them back with Call. This has reach, right? Feels kinda bad. Just gonna do this. Gain some life. No attacks. End turn. We'll chump the Elder Gargaroth with the Cleric if we gotta. We'll sack the 1/1 to the Relic Vial to draw a card. We just want to wait and see what he does first. No blocks. I mean, it might actually be better to sack an Orator. Just because Taborax will grow. And we'll draw a card. I think I'm okay with just the 1/1 for now. Actually, yeah, because he does have the green. He has the green for Scavenging Ooze, so we don't want to put anything in the graveyard if we can help it. An enabler would be really nice right now. Guess we'll just go Hallowed Priest. Gain a bunch of life. Make this guy huge. So big. We'll pass the turn. We're gonna have to let him eat an Orator, because we need to sack one of these dudes. Draw more card, trigger our things, make these guys huge, get a counter on Taborax. Like, we just need to do it at this point. I think we slowly get there if we just hold him off. That's fine. That's more than fine. So he's gonna get 2 lands. And maybe some counters. I still think we're faster. Still think we're faster. No blocks. We want to make Taborax really big. So we'll draw 2 cards, make all of our guys big. He's gonna have to eat this. He's just like starving for food. It's like, yes, finally food. Food in the yard for me. But we get so much off of that. So much. So much. We're gonna play this as a land. Because we desperately need it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Play Bastion. Gain some life. Just gain a whole bunch of life. Soulmender. Gain some more life. Just go real wide. Hoping we can just take the hit again from the Great Horn. Scorpion, just gain some more life. Make that priest so big. So big. No attacks. Hold back the line for now. Like, everything that dies is hitting him for 3. So we only need to sack 4 creatures. He can't attack in with everything. We'll take the 5. We've just pretty much got him at this point. Can't get through. Play another Bastion. Pass turn. What we'll end up doing is tapping Soulmender to gain a life. And then sacking him to the Relic Vial. Solve. That is fine. Like, I hope he grows enough balls to just swing with everything. Because he'll lose. Look at all this. Actually, gonna go there. Trigger a whole bunch of things. He's got no cards in hand, so I know he can't do anything tricksy in response. Which means it's safe. It's safe to draw the card. Spend the life and draw the card here. Take action. No blocks. Oh boy. Play another Bastion. Oh my god. I mean, I could have just played Vito instead, but it doesn't matter. We just got him at this point. A little sack of Scorpion. Do all the things ever. We have all of our sack payoffs in play. All 4 Bastions and the one-off Relic Vial. Gross. So gross. No attacks. Not yet. I would rather have the mana in play. Do we have anything we could spend 1 on? No. So we'll just do tapped. And we'll pass. We can't really use that because he's eating everything that goes into our graveyard. But he also can't attack, or he just dies. He only gets through with 2 creatures. Wait, he's not going with the 5/6? What in the world? He's got no cards in hand. We just block with everything. Is that trample? That is trample. Doesn't matter though, right? Yeah. Is that a trample? No. Scoo's here. I'm gonna trade with the symbiote there. Pretty sure he just dies. I'm sorry. That was ridiculous. Come on. Clerics, man. Clerics. How much life can you gain? It's not going to be enough. I'm draining for 20. 20. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. This is fine. Turn 1 Vessel. Turn 2 Clerical Life Spawned. Turn 3 Hallowed Priest. And probably play the Skyclave Cleric as a land. And then when things inevitably removal, we've got Call. And he's mulliganing. All of the mulligans. Did he find a hand he likes? Yes, he did. Okay. Swamp Vessel. He's a 1/1. Alright, well, do that. And we don't mind trading if he would like to trade. We gain life, our guy gets bigger. We get rid of his 1/1 that he can't use with his Lovestruck Beast. We get this guy in the grave so we can bring him back later with Call of the Death Dweller. All good things. Thank you. So we'll go Hallowed Priest. Trigger life gain. Everything will grow. Swing. We'll play the you want to play the Cleric or the Awakening? We're pretty far away from being able to use the Awakening, and we have a Call of the Death Dweller. So I actually think we'll play that as our land. Because this coming into play with our board state is really good. This will get 2 counters off of it. This will get 1 counter. And we'll gain 3 life. Yep, it's doing all the things. That's okay, we've got Call of the Death Dweller. Let's go! What do we do first? Call or Taborax? I think Call is probably right. Trigger some life gain, get a little bigger, make 5/5. And we'll hold on to the Cleric for now. If we had another 2-drop in hand, we might consider playing it as a land, because then if we draw into a second 2-drop, we can play them both in the same turn. But since we can only play one card next turn regardless of if we have the 4th land in play or not, we're just going to keep it as a creature for now. It can do a lot for us in the long run. There's no point in playing it as a land unless we can capitalize on that in the short term. He is searching. He's just playing Wishes. It would feel really good to beat Wishes with this deck. Oh, he's doing the four color Omnath Wishes deck, so he probably plays Omnath right now. Which he's probably scared of because it will be open to removal. I think we need a Hagra Mauling in this deck. One more Hagra Mauling. We've got one. I think 2 would be right. So we probably want Taborax in play first. Drawing cards is super important. What's he gonna try to do at instant speed? He's definitely gonna try to do something. He's gonna bounce. Yeah. I mean, we still get the triggers. We still swing in for a lot. Hit him for 8. And I think we have so many things to do that we're backed up a little. So now we're okay playing this as the land. At least, at the very, very least, the next 2 turns, we have better plays. And he's only at 5, so like, the chance of that body coming into play and making a difference at this point is very slim. The land could matter though. If we draw a 1-drop next turn, we can play 2 things. See what he does. He's gonna have 5 mana, or he's gonna save it for our turn to gain another 4 life. That's what he's trying to decide. And if he's even considering that, that means whatever he could do with the 5 mana isn't going to be enough, which means he doesn't have a Brazen Borrower. He probably doesn't have a Stalled. But nope, he's cracking it. I'm gonna guess he has another blocker. I would be very surprised if he had removal, because I don't think he would have thought as hard as he did if he had removal. Okay, guess I'm wrong. Kind of seems like a no-brainer. We can't make the priest bigger, unfortunately. So I think what we have to do for now is just gear up for a good next turn. Pass. We can chump, gain life, and this guy will become a 5/5. So attacking would be very unpleasant for him. Play a Swamp. Play another Swamp. We'll play Vito. We'll play Taborax. And no attacks. We need the jump blocker here. He needs to draw into removal, and if he did, we're kind of screwed. But if he didn't, we're actually in really good shape. Can't block the flyer. So with Vito's ability, the flyer can do 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We can do at least 10. No blocks. 2, 3, 4, 5. What do we have here? 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then at least 2 get through. That's 11, 12. And then whatever he blocks dies. No, at least 1 gets through. So that's 11. Whatever he blocks dies. Be 12. It's not quite where we want it to be. Let's do this. And we'll swing for 2 flying. Now I think we're in pretty good shape. Again, unless he drew the removal. He's probably got an ultimatum in hand and he needs the last mana to actually play it. But I don't know what the second card is. Okay, land. So he's gonna have to wait until next turn to ultimatum. If he has ultimatum. Maybe he has removal. Take 8. Clerical die. Trigger some things. Take action. Next to combat. Swing all. Next to blockers. And we'll activate Vito. And that is a crap ton of damage. Good day to you, sir. Omnath ain't a thing. Omnath, Lucky Clover in the same deck. It just wasn't enough. We'll keep this. We need the white. It's my only concern. Seems a little weird. Do we play the passage first turn and then drop both of these on turn 2? Woof. Doesn't even matter anymore. Neither of them are going to really do anything. So I think we need to accelerate to Lurrus. We'll keep the Hagra Mauling. We'll go Fabled Passage, pass turn. Solve the Vantress Gargoyle. We need to get rid of cards in our hand so it cannot attack us. Right? 7 or more cards in graveyard. Okay, never mind. I'm silly. Play both of these. As painful as it is, if he does attack with the Apprentice, I think we'll double block it. Our speaker will bite the bullet. I think we're going to have to hold the Hagra Mauling to kill the Gargoyle. Tutelage. Woof. Woof. Well, pay 3 life. Get back some things. It's probably the most efficient use of our mana. Let's go Cleric of Lifespawn and Scorpion. We'll put the Menace counter on the Cleric and the Death Touch counter on the Scorpion. We'll swing here. If he wants to send our thing to the grave, that's fine. We can bring it back. No matter what, we grow our Cleric so it's big enough. It should be big enough next turn to swing regardless of the Gargoyle, which is what's important. So many things in the grave. What does it all mean, Basil? We need to play a Cleric, but we can't play a Cleric. Lurrus isn't going to do enough here. We'll just play Bastion, and we'll swing with the Vessel. We'll see if we can't make our Cleric a little bigger. Nice. Cleric grows. End turn. We're really going to need that Hagra Mauling, I think. As much as it hurts to not be able to drop Orah. Next turn. We are getting milled out. I really don't know why people bother with Overwhelmed Apprentice, though. It seems underwhelming. Just seems underwhelming. We need to land here, unfortunately. We'll Hagra Mauling the Gargoyle, and we'll just swing with everything. Oh, man. That's so depressing. Well, we'll swing with this and we'll take out his gargoyle at least. Swing with this to try to gain some life. We'll hold everything else back. It's gonna be close, I think. He's milling us real good right now. But he's also kind of out of steam. Yeah, I guess it makes sense that people run it, but it just seems like a weird include for me. So we'll play Lurrus here. We'll probably counterspell it. It's fine. We'll do this and this again. And next turn, he'll be big enough that we can just swing with everything. That's the thought, at least. With Orah on the field, which would be really good. If he has just the right cards, he can win really quick here. But I don't think he does. Plays the one land. We're down to 13. We'll play also play speaker. Let's go. If he kills things, it's kind of bad. This guy's got menace. Aw, into the royal. That's depressing. That's so depressing. Wait, he didn't block anything with the gargoyle? Seems weird. Alright. So at most, we're getting one more turn. He might just mill us out right here. Be close. Do we have a Vito in the grave? We do have a Vito in the grave. I think that's our one hope for winning. Or Woe Strider. Woe Strider would do it. Let's try to sneak in a cleric, see how he responds. Anti-cognition. That's what we wanted. We were baiting his counterspell. So now we should be able to just win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Now we just win. Good game. I don't think he realizes why. We don't even need to grab Vito. We grab Woe Strider. We just stack our whole board. Yep, we got him. We got him. That was Clerical Error, our Orzhov Cleric's deck. Now, I'm really interested to see how this deck does with the post-ban environment. Omnath, Lucky Clover, and Escape from the Wilds being gone. Absolutely crazy. I feel like this deck can really flourish. Please give it a like. Maybe leave us a comment. It really helps out the video and the channel. Subscribe. Really means a lot, and we'll see you on the next one.